path from here to there because there are some tough political issues, particularly relating to the future of the Kyoto Protocol and to the legal nature of the global deal. The best news, however, is not to be found in the halls of negotiation. It is to be found in the world of action. It is led by the private sector and by leaders at the political level who have long-term understandings. We see this in requests to the World Bank almost every week. 10 years ago, maybe 10% of the 150 client countries of the World Bank would have asked us to help them with climate change. Now, almost 90% of countries have said to the World Bank Group, please help us on climate change as one of the 3 or 4 major issues you work with us on. As a result, we're now working in 130 countries on climate change, especially here in Indonesia. Countries are using their own money to address these issues, and they're mixing it with international support. Developing countries have actually become the center of innovation for many of the new things that are happening with regard to climate change. Last year, more than $250 billion were invested worldwide in clean energy. More than half of that was in the developing world. 53 billion of that was in China. Indonesia is also becoming a serious player with regard to renewable energy, particularly in the field of geothermal, where 27,000 megawatts of untapped capacity exist. Today, only 1,000 megawatts are currently being exploited, but there are plans to replicate that and expand it, and it's a great privilege for the World Bank Group to be part of that. Innovations are also happening in policy. 100 countries today now have renewable energy targets and policies. 40 developing countries have feed-in tariffs to encourage renewable energy. A growing number of countries are introducing market-based instruments to reduce emissions. China is introducing a cap-and-trade system in 4 of its largest cities and 2 of its provinces. South Africa has designed a carbon tax and is currently consulting stakeholders on it. We've just launched a $100 billion grant facility to help 20 middle-income countries, including Indonesia and China and India and Chile and several others, introduce market-based mechanisms. There are also a lot of innovations in finance as well. Carbon markets themselves obviously were a remarkable innovation. These need to be reformed and made more programmatic so they can take much larger sums of money and can go to low-income countries too. Other financial innovations include, for example, green bonds, which are allowing organizations like the World Bank to tap into savings markets that weren't available before to support development in developing countries. The World Bank groups already issued more than $3 billion of green bonds. New developments in risk sharing and insurance are taking place. Caribbean countries now, they're able to spread the risk among themselves so that whenever a hurricane strikes an island, for example, funds disperse within 24 hours directly to those countries. Other countries are experimenting with getting money very quickly through insurance systems to households when difficulties strike them. Money is, of course, essential to the issue, and today in Mexico City is the first meeting of the interim committee for the new Green Fund, which potentially will be the largest international fund ever created. It could be $20 or $30 billion a year. It needs to be designed efficiently and well to get the job done. Let me make a final point here. It is appropriate, as others have said, that this conference is here in Indonesia. Indonesia is showing great leadership in the fight for a sustainable future. President Yudhoyono has laid out a very ambitious target to lower greenhouse gases by 26% compared to the business as usual path, and another 15% if funds become available. This is not a pie in the sky ideal. It is linked to a very serious plan to address the forest issue. It includes a top-class analysis of alternatives to logging and forest conversion. It includes participation of key stakeholders. It includes new institutional and legal framework, and it includes very serious financial commitments from the government itself, from countries like Norway, and from the international community. Crucially, Indonesia is not willing to trade environmental protection for economic growth and job creation. The slogan is not just 26%, it's 26 and 7, with the 7 being the rate of growth that Indonesia needs and wants to employ its growing workforce. A new paradigm is emerging worldwide, as sustainable development as a phrase is giving way to green growth. All around the world, the private sector is realizing that it can actually make money and it can do good at the same time. Indonesia's private sector can be at the forefront of this new paradigm. It's entirely appropriate that these organizers, the government, the Investment Coordinating Board, the large and important private sector organizations, civil society, and international organizations together come together. The world is watching Indonesia, probably more than any other country with regard to forests. If Indonesia succeeds, many others will follow, and a new paradigm will have been developed. If Indonesia fails, all bets are off. And this is why it is so important that we work together. Only together can we achieve what is to be done. So everybody in this room, private, public, academic, civil society, international organizations, donors, and so on, have a role to play. Let me commit to you on behalf of the World Bank Group, which has had the privilege of working in this country now for more than 50 years, and Stefan Kobeli and his very large team here in Jakarta, let me commit to you our 100% total support to make this a success, and I wish you the best today and tomorrow as we struggle with these issues together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Andrew. Well, we've already had commitments this morning. We've already had a reminder of the way in which economic development and environmental sustainability are interlinked. We've already spoken about transformative change. We've already spoken about international dimensions. We've already heard about on-the-ground experience of organizations in Indonesia. We have started as we mean to go on. And in that vein, could we please thank the speakers who have spoken this morning? So please give them a round of applause. And could I call on Lasse Gustafsson to come up to the stage and to introduce the opening plenary panel. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. And good morning to all of you. It's a beautiful morning in Jakarta. We are 6 billion people on this planet. We all need to meet our basic needs of food, water, education, jobs, health, etc., etc. We are already living as if we had resources from 1.5 planet, as stated by the WWF in its flagship report, the Living Planet report issued in October last year. It is clear to me, and I hope to all of you, that business as usual is no longer an option. We will spend an hour with a very impressive panel to investigate how we build a future where people live in harmony with nature, have all our basic needs met. Practically and technically, this is possible. A low-carbon economy is within reach. The WWF issued an energy report just a couple of months ago that stated 100% renewable energy for 9 billion people planet is within reach in 2050. But there is a deep systematic change needed, and business will have to play a key role in this. We need to see new business thinking, and we will investigate the insights and philosophies of the principle of value creation in a new approach to business thinking today. We have, as I said,